Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Vaughn with How She Got There and Next In podcast. And we are here today with somebody I want to be when I grow up, Nedra Barr, who is the CEO and co-founder of Spyder Inc. Nedra, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. And thanks so much for asking me to be on your show. This is exciting to share the story and share
Oh,
my journey.
well, I'm excited that you're here too. We got a little background information on you, and we are completely inspired by your story and really am excited to share it with all of our viewers. I'd love to hear where you grew up and what you thought you were going to be when you grew up.
Okay. Well, that's yes. What I thought I was going to be is definitely not what I became. I grew up
Mhm.
in a small town, Fort Scott, Kansas. And
Okay.
Fort Scott is about 16,000 in the community in the county. And boy, it was like growing up in a Norman Rockwell painting. It was that awesome. I mean, brick streets, the church bells would ring every day in the morning and at noon and 5 o'clock. And you could go downtown and you could charge a candy bar at the pharmacy to your parents' account, and you might get in trouble when you got home, but you could do that. And so it was just really an idyllic time, in our lives to be able to do something like that and to grow up in a place like this. So I really thought, I'd like to one day give back to this community that I feel gave me such a fantastic start to my life. So
Mhm.
I formed Spyder, and I started Spyder and brought it down to Fort Scott. So my new software company is home based here in Fort Scott, Kansas.
Nice. Now, what did you think you were going to do when you were growing up?
Yeah, at first I thought I'd be a doctor, and I
Okay.
would have loved that. I really would have. Then I thought I'd be a CPA. Now that would have been the biggest mistake of my life, frankly. I mean, there are fantastic CPAs out there, and I do not need to be one of them, and I wouldn't be one of them. So I'm glad I didn't. In later years, I kind of thought, gosh, why didn't I go into space and aerophysics or
Mhm.
something of that nature? But somehow life and the universe just have a way of putting you right where you're supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. So tell me, what was your career path that led you to create Spider?
Well, okay, yeah, that's a great question. So when I growing up here in Fort Scott, when I was 16, I started keeping the books for a little property and casualty insurance agency here in Fort Scott. And this was a little old man. He was a wonderful little guy, and but he was deaf and he was blind. He was in his late 80s and early 90s, and he needed help. And so I kind of got in there and learned his business, and I started to really, handle his business for him.
Mhm.
And I learned that I liked it. And so I was going to buy his practice, his insurance practice, but he sold it before I could do that. So I went across the street, became the largest agent in Fort Scott very quickly, and then became the largest agent really in the state. And then from there, I did move out of Fort Scott and I moved to Kansas City in 1987. And I did that because I needed to broaden my horizons. I needed to learn more. And I kind of had grown really quickly to where I could in Fort Scott. And I just needed to go and get some other exposure and learn a little bit more. So
Mhm.
I continued my career in Kansas City, and being the number one agent for BMA for many years. And lots of great trips that I took myself and my kids on, great Chairman's Council trips and fun trips all over the world,
Mhm.
and just had a great career. And then I kind of one day I said, technology is not meeting the needs of the people, right? Of the agents and advisors. And I said, I can do something about this. And so therefore I went into technology. So I was 20 years, 19 actually, selling product and solutions. And then I went into designing software and solutions for the industry in 2000. Fun ride, really fun ride.
Well,
Yeah.
having that ability have coming from sales of the product to seeing what the consumer needs and seeing what you need actually helps build those stepping stones to create that product. I think that's amazing that you're able to flip that switch and go, okay, here are the falls that I saw and that we need to fix, and let's fix those holes. I love that.
It was insightful. It was insightful, and that process did, having that vast, deep domain knowledge of the industry did
Mhm.
lead me into understanding how to apply technology to it. So there was
Mhm.
a lot of great learning points there for me.
Now, when we talked earlier, you told me about a really difficult situation in your life, health wise, that happened to you right before you were going to take a job as a CEO. Could you
Yeah,
share that with us and share how you came out of that and created Spider?
I'd be happy to. This is a really tragic story that's got a fantastic outcome. And Back in 2006 on Martin Luther King Day, I was on an airplane at LaGuardia and an American Airlines flight, and I was deplaning, and so was everybody else. And this guy had a bag in a very, very big duffel bag in the overhead, and he couldn't get it out. It was stuck. And so another guy was helping him. They gave it a big tug, and it came flying out and hit me right on top of the head. And it just compression fractured my neck and my back. And all the energy went all the way down my neck and back, and then it went out my hips. And so it kind of ruined my neck and my back. And when something like that happens, you're in shock really, and you don't really know how bad you're hurt. And I didn't think I was hurt that bad. And I jumped up and said, I'm okay. And I went out and got off the plane, and I went to the hotel, and I started holding my neck, and I thought, uh-oh, something's really wrong here. So after, calling the doctor and going to the doctor and going through this process, I learned that I had a broken neck and broken back. And wow. So that was quite a shock. And I tried to continue to work a little bit, but it just didn't really work out. So for 6 years, I was home on disability, nursing surgeries and a broken neck and rehabbing. And that was hard because right before that, as you said, I had just verbally accepted a position that I was going to kind of be an apprentice CEO and learn from a really great guy. And I was really excited about it. I had, my career had culminated up to this point of being a CEO, and I was so excited, and it felt like it just all went away. And then here I am for 6 years, trying to really recover and fight my way back. And it was a hard fight, but I got there. And I always told myself, you're going to fight your way back, and you're going to get there. And one day the doctors, nurses, they came and they told me, they said, this isn't really going so well. And I'm like, doesn't matter. It's fine. It'll be fine. And I just fought my way back. And then in 2016, I told myself I had to be healthy for 1 year before I could really come back. And so 2015, I was healthy for a year. And in 2016, I went back to work. When I went back to work, though, I knew I couldn't start and go back at being a CEO. There's no way. When you haven't worked for 6 years, you've got to go back and kind of rebuild your career. So I made a plan, and I said, in short order, in 3 years, I'm going to be back where I want to be. Okay. So I made a plan, and I went and took a VP of sales position, and I killed it. I really rocked that position out and helped that company get to a point where they could sell, which was their goal. And then I went on to be a CRO for a company. And then I formed Spyder. It was my time, my turn. I've designed a lot of software products for a lot of companies out there and made them a lot of money, made people millions. And it's time for me to do that for myself. And so I'm really excited about Spyder and building this company and the products and the services that we're going to provide to our industry. Very exciting.
What can you tell us about Spyder? Because I think that this product is phenomenal.
This is really cool. So what Spyder is, we're really a cybersecurity company. We really look at everything and make sure that people are really secure for the insurance and the financial services industry. Soon we'll be branching out to the medical industry and other industries too. But what we do, we make sure that all your computer devices are protected. We try to keep you away from getting hacked or getting ransomed. We also, though, have a really cool document storage product that we have built. And it's a multi-cloud product. So everybody gets a primary cloud and a backup cloud. And I think in today's world with all these hacks, it was just on the news last night again that the United States is expecting Russia to do some very big major ransom attacks here very quickly, on the United States because of this Ukraine war. So it's happening, and it happens to everybody. And if you're sitting out there with a doc storage system and you're putting all your documents in one storage solution, if anything happens to that, what's going to happen to your business? Mm-hmm. So we want everybody to have backups. We know that's important, and we want to make sure everybody is safe and has backups. Yeah. We also want to make sure that we can tell you, and if you're getting ransomed. Right now, companies don't have the ability to know that, and we think that's super important.
So you want to be preemptive instead of postemptive.
That's right. We want to do all we can to be as preemptive as we can. Yes.
Yeah.
And protective.
Yeah. I think that, what we've seen happen so far when we've seen all of these hacking situations, I worked for a major media company that was hacked 2 years ago by Russian hackers, and we had zero backup, and there was no way to recover quite a bit of the information. So I think to protect that beforehand, before you even get to that that ability to take the information is so important. And I love the fact that you thought of the idea of getting two cloud systems there for the consumer.
Yeah, we think it's going to really catch on. It's going to be big. You can go look at it at spyderloop.com. You can check our website out and take a look. We're also a little bit less expensive. That's always a good advantage as well. So
Yeah.
our mantra and what we really believe is that, technology, it should be fairly priced.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to sell our solution for lots and lots and lots of money. We just want to provide something great out there to the market and to the industry that we love so much, and be helpful. So we'll be just fine.
Yeah. I loved how you told me you hope to be a unicorn in the next few years.
Yeah,
I think that's achievable for you.
I think it is too. A unicorn is a company, a privately held company valued at $1 billion of valuation. And so it negates that. It creates about 100 million of revenues, what you need between 100 and 120 million of revenue, to get to that $1 billion valuation. And we do believe that we'll be there. We believe in 7 years that we'll be a 7-year unicorn. And I hope that you see great things out of Spyder.
Oh, I'm sure we absolutely are going to. How do you think we get more women into technology?
That's a great question. And recently, I've been looking at these girls that code, type companies. There's a couple of them, and that I've seen recently. And I think we're going to talk to them here coming up and talk about how do we bring more women into our company and into coding. But how do we really get more women in technology? It feels like women are starting to make that turn.
Mm-hmm.
I am not sure if I'm totally correct yet. I mean, there's still a skewed difference, but I do believe that women now are starting to look at technology and say, I can do this. I can do this. I can run this. I can design it. I can, run a technology company. And we're seeing a lot more women stepping into these roles. We have a ways to go, and we're going to do our part and do everything we can to bring more women in.
Yeah.
We think it's great.
Yeah, I love that. I never even thought of it as a prospective career choice. And now everything's kind of laid out for these girls that are in elementary through high school that, it's right there at their fingertips. They can experience that.
Yeah, these STEM programs that they have, they're amazing. And, there's so many sides of technology. So you can really apply technology to almost every area of your day-to-day life. So it's a matter of helping girls and kids in general. We don't want to leave the boys behind either,
right.
But it's helping these kids really learn and understand what they can do to make an impact in the world and into their lives. I think that's a great goal for us to have in education.
It certainly is. I would love to hear the best career advice you've ever received.
Wow. I've got lots of it.
Okay.
By different people. Yeah. I mean, I have had some fantastic mentors in my career, just fantastic. And even the people sometimes didn't always like the people, the bosses or whatever, there was always something great to learn from everybody. I was taught early on that you build a business brick by brick. Okay. And I've never forgotten that, because it's true. If you build a building brick by brick, you got to put a foundation under it. So you got to have, if you're going to build a business, you've got to make it, built on a strong foundation. So you have to know that you're serving needs and that people want what you're going to be providing. That's one thing. And then, every client is important. Every brick is a client. So if you build your business brick by brick, every client is important. And I love that. I love that philosophy. I always have been told that, honest, intelligent effort is always rewarded. And I believe that. In fact, I have it on a coffee cup that I still have. I've had that coffee cup since 1987 because I love it so much. And I believe that, if you're, honest, intelligent effort, if you're doing the right thing and you're working hard and you're doing it in the right ways, and you're being honorable about it, I think, people respond to that. People help people that are helping themselves, So I believe that too. Gosh, I would always just, I've had so much great advice. That's probably the top two that always come to my mind. But I've been very blessed with mentors in my career. And I would encourage women to seek out mentors, because, whether it's another woman mentor or a male mentor, it doesn't matter. There's things to learn from everyone. And we have to understand that. I like to look at people's behaviors. I sometimes in the past, I have modeled people's behaviors. Like, oh, I really like how they said that. I like how they how they carry themselves. I like their confidence. They have a tone or an air about them. I like that. I like how they speak to people. I
Mhm.
like that they're kind. I mean, there's lots of things, that values that I kind of hold dearly, that I'll see in people, and then I will kind of mold maybe something myself a little bit into what I've seen that I thought was great.
Mhm. I think that's great advice. Absolutely great advice. Nedra, what inspires you?
Wow, so much. I mean, so much. Um, my family, my grandkids. I mean, I want to leave a legacy for these grandkids. I really do. That is something that's just really important to me personally. Also, helping this community, leaving a legacy in this community that can really restore a town to when they had great paying jobs with great benefits, and all the houses were maintained, and the effect of a community of what not having a huge employer in a smaller community has on a community can be devastating. So helping along, I like to be helpful. I really want to be good in this world, and kind and helpful, and I think we need a lot more people to be that way, and we'll be just fine.
I love that. Well, Nedra, thank you so much for coming by and talking to us today. And I hope everybody was inspired as much as I was. And go look at Spyder. It's an absolutely amazing company. And I really do think that you're going to be a unicorn in the next few years.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bye bye.